Welcome in, everybody. My name's Cleaning Agent. Today we're going over Marvel Mystic Mayhem. We're going to look at some character kits. Today I'm focusing on Moon Knight. We're going to look at his skills, what kind of character he is, and maybe a little bit of gameplay so you can see what his abilities do in action. Alright, so let's get right into the character himself. I really dig Moon Knight. I chose him first because I really love his artwork in this game. No other reason why Moon Knight is my first choice, besides he looks badass. So let's see here. In the game itself, you can see here on Moon Knight's icon that he's a weaponry. Now, this is the type of hero. There's 4 types in the game. Weaponry, which is obviously heroes skilled with different weapons and armor. Mutation, which is your classic X-Men type mutant characters. Energy, which is people who utilize gamma energy or electricity, like your Storms or your Hulks, that kind of thing. And Mystic Arts, which is your, wizards and witches of the game. Strange, Scarlet, you get the point. Anyway, so right now, there's only the 4 hero types. Moon Knight falls under the weaponry type. Wait, I already lied, because there's only 4 hero types in the game right now. I found out just seconds before recording. If you go into here, you can search by class and hero type. There are 2 hero types that aren't in the game right now in the closed beta: Cosmic and Concussive. Cosmic is pretty self-explanatory. Any cosmic characters that aren't from Earth probably fall under that. And then Concussive, I'm not sure what kind of characters would fall under Concussive. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. All right, then we get into the 4 classes. So there's 4 classes, and Moon Knight is a fighter class, which is specifically for melee combat heroes, dealing damage, what have you. The other 3 types so far is Striker class, which is ranged combat, typically physical damage, I believe, as well. Controllers, and that's like your supports. They usually are doing buffs, healing, that kind of thing. Some summoning, that sort of thing. And then your defense or defenders, that's your tanks in the game. That's the ones that are going to take the hits. They're the ones going to be able to shield the team a little bit. All right, so that's the 4 classes. Now, today we're talking about Moon Knight, who's the fighter. And now he is a fighter, but we're going to look at his skills, and he's got some support-like qualities, some control-like qualities as well. Now, every character has, I think I'm going to break it down as to 2 special abilities, 1 ultimate ability, and a passive. Because the game is kind of an AFK-style attack system, your characters are always performing their basic attacks, and then you queue up their other abilities. So it's 2 specials, 1 ultimate, and a passive. We'll look at the passive for Moon Knight here first. At level 1, at the start of battle, Moon Knight gains a new moon. New moon switches to full moon after 24 seconds. So 24 seconds into your match, you get the full moon, which reduces the mana cost of Moon Knight's skills by 1, and then switches back to a new moon, so cycles back for 24 seconds to get another reduction in mana cost. So every ability here in the game costs a certain amount of mana, and that mana obviously can be altered with passives or different abilities throughout. This is the ultimate ability that Moon Knight has. He deals physical damage to nearby enemies. It's a range of 3, so when we go into the actual match, you can see the little quadrants, and when you use the abilities, you can see the size of the quadrants around you and where the ability will affect. So you will do physical damage to nearby enemies and heal Moon Knight and allies within this 3 range. Now, the ultimate energy is 400, and I believe that's just the count of how long it takes for the ultimate energy or the ultimate to be available to use. So when we get through different characters, you'll see the ultimate energy. It will be at a various number. Some come faster or slower depending on the ability itself or the character. All right, now the 2 specials. These are the ones that you'll be using with your mana cost. You can see here, Night Traveler is a dash function. Now, dashes are like maneuvering the character somewhere else on the map. Because you don't control the movement of your characters during battle, dash function is a great way, and not all characters have dash functions, but those who do, you can move them to different areas of the map to focus attacks on different enemies. Usually you want to utilize it to jump over to the healer units to kill them off before they can heal up all the other characters. Now, there's also different damage types in the game. Right now, there's only 2 damage types that we've seen: physical damage, and I believe the other one is called special damage. So from what I've seen, any special damage is characters who are like casting spells. Storm is pretty much all special damage. Psylocke does all special damage. Moon Knight does all physical damage. So that's just a variety, because enemies in the game are either weak to physical damage, weak to special damage, or just normal, and just take normal damage, either damage type that is given to them. All right, so we have here a mana cost of 3. Now again, this would get reduced to a mana cost of 2 if you've gone full moon in your passive. So every 24 seconds, your mana cost will drop on this. Once you use an ability, it will bump it back up to its regular cost. And so this moves to the target location that you choose and deals physical damage to the enemy with the lowest HP. So this will always target. He throws like his little boomerangs at the character with the lowest health remaining. Now, his other special is Khonshu's Blessing, which is a buff. There's multiple different buffs in the games. Some cause increased attack speed, increased attack damage, increased protection, like armor, that kind of thing, or like damage reduction, what have you. So this is another 3 cost mana, again 2 if he has a full moon on. It says range as self, but anyone around him also gets the boost, so we're gonna have to see what the actual range is in this ability when we go through and play it in game. But it increases Moon Knight's and nearby allies attack for 10 seconds. So I guess it radiates around himself, but I would love to know what the actual range is, because it doesn't do everybody on the board. It is only characters around him. So that being said, because he does a heal with allies and he does a buff with allies, it's good to know that he is melee and usually is utilized with other melee characters, because then they can utilize his abilities and get buffed from them. All right, so you can actually upgrade here. If we go into the skills, you can upgrade abilities here. If you look at his heal, so as you can see, as you level it up, it increases the damage overall and increases the healing overall. Now, there's also a little bit of a skill tree here, which is separate than the abilities themselves. But if you go to the skill tree, these are also upgradable. It's kind of like upgrading gear a little bit. You can upgrade these skills, and this is just overall damage dealing or stats that your character will receive based on these skills. So as you can see here, you can just upgrade the physical damage of the character overall. Instead of 36%, deals 40% of Moon Knight's physical damage. This one here, enter full moon state instead of new moon at the start of battle. So if you unlock that, instead of waiting 24 seconds for your reduced mana cost of abilities, you start with the full moon, which can get you a good jump. So, and here's another one that increases your health by 10%. So you have to unlock these by leveling up these other skills first, and then that unlocks these other branches. So it's very interesting in that way. So this one here, lunar phases. At the start of battle, Moon Knight gains new moon. New moon switches to full moon, and this reduces that count. So that's like the passive upgrade. So that's kind of the overview there of the character. Let's jump in to see a little bit of the actual gameplay, and then I'll leave you with what you think of Moon Knight in the game. So this is probably not the best team, except for, you know, he will be able to boost armor because she will also be a melee. We'll have Moon Knight in there, and then we'll bring in Sleepwalker, who's kind of a support healer. And we'll just go with this at the start, and we're just going to look at his abilities and how it goes. So once we start this battle, it should count that 24-second passive. You can see right here is already ticking down. And I'm just going to shield up here. Once this countdown is over, we should see this dash go from 3 costs down to 2. And hopefully we'll be able to see that nice and easy. All right, so it's almost down here. We got a dragon just like blowing us away here in the back. We have to fight through a bunch of guys, and then we'll fight the dragon at the end. All right, so his ult his passive just finished. Now his buff is 2. So now you can see the buff said it was self, but as you can see, the range on the buff is actually quite good. It looks like it is like 3 squares out or 2 squares out all the way around him. So Sleepwalker is just out of range, being a ranged character. That makes sense. But our Protector is well within range, so this should give us an attack boost for both of them for multiple seconds. And we can see already his ability here went back up to 3 mana cost. So all buffs and things like that, you can see our countdown here. We have our attack buff just for a short time, and that's a-okay. Now, if this becomes like Marvel Strike Force, where there's like tons of buffs, this could get very cluttered, especially if you're fighting alongside enemies and allies. I could see that becoming a little bit of an issue, but we'll see how that goes as it comes. Now, we've got his ultimate heal here up, God of Vengeance. So again, this says it does physical damage as well as healing. So we'll see here again, it's the same radius as his buff was. So we're going to hit the 2 enemies on the board as well as heal ourselves and our Protector. So let's see what kind of damage and healing it does. So the healing was quite substantial. Damage was like only so-so. So that's not bad. Having a little bit of healing in some of these rounds is very good to have. So I guess if you were running an all melee group, it would be most ideal. But until then, it looks like our ult also, or our passive is also down again, so our dash is only 2. So as it said, the dash was, it said it had a 3 range, so that's, I guess, what a 3 range radius is in the game. And I can dash, I can select anywhere here, but as you can see, it's always going to target the enemy with the lowest health. And that's just the nature of this mechanic, of this ability. So I guess if you wanted to reroute to somewhere specific or get close to, say, group all of your characters together so that you could heal them all up or buff them all, that would be a good idea as well. Just being able to dash them over to a better quadrant for strategic purposes. So we did damage, almost killing this guy here. Didn't quite do enough damage, but because he dashed, obviously we're targeting somebody else. But anyway, that is the character of Moon Knight in Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Do you think he is a great representation of the Marvel IP for Moon Knight? Do you like the abilities he has? Do they feel like those are Moon Knight abilities? Or do you feel like maybe he's too much of a support and should be more of a Batman gadgety type that people like to compare him to? I'm on Twitch Live. You can catch me here, Tuesday, Friday evenings, and sometimes during the mornings, during the weekdays. But chat was very kind to let me know, remind me even, that there is a gallery section where you can look at characters specifically as well, so you can get more information about the character. Avatar of Khonshu, Protector of Night Travelers, Out of His Mind. And the more you get into the story of the game, you do see some of the different characters that are within Moon Knight, which is kind of fun. There's Twitch there. Now, you can also go in here, and there's little stories you can unlock, which this one's like a little video, or a tape recording of a psychiatrist interaction with a patient, aka Moon Knight. You can look at the skills as well, and here's a little... I'm hoping this is a little bit of a appetizer of maybe characters to come, but every ability that your character has here, they get a quote from a character in the comic books. Does this have any relation to characters maybe coming to the game? Maybe not. But for me, it's a little bit of a tidbit. Maybe I would love to see a Ghost Rider here. God of Vengeance, once you've sworn yourself over to vengeance, it's a part of you forever. But Mark's got lots of parts. He'll be fine. Ghost Rider. So will we see Ghost Rider? He would fit in perfectly with the Nightmare. The artistic style of this game, I think a Ghost Rider would be a phenomenal add. Here on Night Traveler, we've got an Elsa Bloodstone. I feel like she fits in really great with the darker tones of the game. And then we've got Doctor Strange quote here, who is already in the game. But more importantly, I wanted to bring you to this gallery screen because it also shows bonds. And what bonds are just a grouping. If you have these two characters, they have a bonus that they receive just for having those characters on the board. And this also should allude to maybe other characters coming into the game in the future as well. This is a bond between defenders. Right now we only have the 2 in game, but obviously it opens up for all defenders coming to the game eventually. So right now you can see that we have Misty Knight and Moon Knight as a defender squad. And you can see here, if you check on the details, you get a positive 0.5% attack bonus for having this bond. Now, that being said, if there's more characters added, maybe this attack bonus will increase. I'm not sure. But for now, it is a little something. It's a fun correlation to the comic books, the team-ups, and things like that, that you get a little bonus for having these team-ups within the game. So that's it. Thank you again for watching the video, and again, if you have any comments or any input or any desires for more characters, I will happily make some videos, and we'll see you next time.